Fourth dimensional beings cast a three-dimensional shadow on Earth, and I can prove it scientifically, bitch.
Okay, you have to watch this video. This is a perfect explanation of how we see shadow people in our three-dimensional space. These beings are fourth dimensional beings that are casting three-dimensional shadows. Just like us being three-dimensional beings, we cast a two-dimensional shadow. Einstein says you need to describe where you are not only in the three-dimensional space, but also in time. What time you are in. And that's the fourth dimension. That's the dimension that three-dimensional beings like us, we can't touch. At least we can't see into yet. But she describes this perfectly. Go watch this video. But let's take it a step further. Let's take it one dimension down. A comic book page is a two-dimensional medium. Now let's say that we're able to stick an object into that comic book medium and interact with it. Now what's that two-dimensional being like Superman or Spider-Man going to see? If we stick a pen into their reality, they're going to see that. But it's not the whole object. Maybe we'll stick it in this way. Maybe I should stop saying stick it in. But you get my point. They're not seeing the entire picture, just like we're not seeing the entire picture of the Hat Man or the Shadow People. So let's take it one step up. So us being in the third dimension, what do we see if a fourth dimensional being sticks an object into our dimension? I gotta quit saying this. We see something like this. Yeah. Go watch this video. She makes a perfect point. So all this talk of four dimensions, how many dimensions are there out there? Well, according to science, somewhere between 10 and 26. Damn it, man.
Fourth dimensional beings cast a three-dimensional shadow on Earth, and I can prove it scientifically, bitch. Small penny. This specific thought woke me up out of a dead melatonin sleep. I had taken 3 or 4 gummies and it still woke me up. Now, we're gonna start talking about it. Stay with me, focus. Don't laugh at me, but what got me thinking about this was the Bill Cipher edit. If you don't know who Bill Cipher is, he's a character from Gravity Falls. He is a three-dimensional being born in a two-dimensional world. His story, I think, is one of the most well-written plots of our lifetime. Never seen the show, love the character. But it got me thinking. A dimensional creature will always cast a shadow on the dimension below it. If you are a 2D creature, like Bill Cipher's family, you would cast a 1D shadow. If you are a 3D creature, like me and you, even though I am 3D, my shadow here is still 2D. Okay, so just to surmise, dimensional beings will cast a shadow on the dimension below it. And since me and you are three-dimensional creatures, our shadows are two-dimensional. So, a fourth dimensional creature would cast a three-dimensional shadow. Well, Fox, what the fuck does that mean? What the hell does a three-dimensional shadow look like? The Hat Man. Shadow people. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I think you're picking it up. If a four-dimensional creature, assuming that the fourth dimension that we are talking about is time and space, were to cast a shadow in the dimension below it, it would be a three-dimensional shadow. Because when you go up a dimension, so does your shadow. Shadow people, the Hat Men, whatever you want to call them, are not entities themselves. That's why they never interact. That's why they just sit and watch. See, I can do all kinds of things with my shadow, but it cannot interact. Shadow beings can't interact because they're a lower dimensional representation of a higher dimensional being. Hi, hello. I was just about to change the brakes on the Katie. However, my comment section is exploding with questions on the Shadow Man video. So I thought I would make a quick video to kind of explain my thinking a little bit and to answer the most common questions on that video. Small panic. To address the time and space comment when referencing the fourth dimension, I genuinely believe that 4D beings would be able to move through time like we move through space. And the reason for this is simple. Something has to separate the dimensions. Just like a piece of paper or a shine of light separates 2D objects and is 100% beyond their control. In theory, we would have to have something beyond our control in order to lock us off from another dimension. The one thing that nobody has any control over is time. And to the people that want to argue that time is a man-made construct, tell that to your wrinkles in 30 years. It's not a man-made construct. We just keep track of it. Seemingly wrongly, because the Gregorian calendar seems absolutely fucked. But still, even with calendars and clocks taken out of the picture, time will pass by the phases of the moon and by you aging. Now, for people saying that they can truly interact with their shadow, I'm going to offer a counter-argument. Not saying you're wrong, however, you are confusing a one-sided interaction with a true interaction. And I'll prove it right now. Here we have a gorgeous sunrise, and here we have a shadow. Shadow, I want to marry you. Please take this ring as a token of my love. Ta-da! The shadow will never pick up the ring and never accept my proposal because 2D things cannot interact with 3D things like we can because there is something separating them from us. For our shadows, they exist within the confines of light. However, I saw another question that was brilliantly worded on my video. And the question was, why can we see the shadow people at night when there isn't a light source? Mwah, I love it. Whoever first asked that question, thank you. And to answer that question, I'm not done with the theory yet. However, I personally believe that their shadows don't necessarily have anything to do with light and everything to do with energy. And the reason for this is simple again. When looking at different dimensions, we don't know what they have and what they experience. For all we know, the fourth dimension and up could be dimensions of darkness. However, in science, there is one thing that cannot be created and not be destroyed. It is just dispersed and concentrated. And that, my friend, would be energy. The only thing safe to assume is up there, because it cannot be created or destroyed by anything, is energy. And that is why I think that their shadows are dependent on energy more so than light. I do apologize about the proving scientifically bit. I ripped that off from a TV show because I thought it was funny. And the joke of that video was the shadow, my shadow, was the scientific evidence. Sometimes my jokes don't land, it's fine. However, to the ones saying that I need to summon a shadow person in order to prove my scientific thesis or hypothesis correct, you are also correct. Somebody please teach me how to summon a demon so I can prove my hypothesis correct. Hiya!